G'day guys, welcome back. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching my content. As always, it is my pleasure and privilege to entertain you here on YouTube. Super Rugby round 13, the Waratahs versus the Fijian Drua at home in Sydney. There seem to be more Fijian fans at the stadium than actual Waratahs fans. Every time Fijians got the ball, it was so much louder than the Waratahs. So yeah, really good to see all the big fans showing up from Sydney to see the Waratahs in a Waratahs home game. So yeah, it was really good for the game. And yeah, this game was really back and forward. I thought the Fijians had a really good chance of beating the Waratahs, upset the Waratahs. And there was a lot of really interesting positives that I noticed for the Endurers this week. Obviously, much better performance than last week against the Western Force. So one thing I did notice for the first time ever, there were two incidents in this game. That was first time ever. One, Fijian had a penalty advantage at one point. Instead of opting to take the quick tap like they've been doing for the whole season, essentially, for the first time ever, they call for a scrum. I mean, it is smart. It is really smart to go for the scrum. You know, to create extra space, to having extra players committed at the set piece in the defensive side opens up a lot more space for your backs to work with. So yeah, the Endurers really went for the scrum. I was really surprised that they went for this option. Like obviously, it's not that long ago, a few weeks ago, where the Endurers scrum was getting dominated, right? It was something that was horrendous. Now they've really improved to the point where they're confident to go for a scrum against like a Wallaby studded forward pack of the Waratahs, right? So I was very, I was very pleased to see that massive improvement by the Fijian Drua set piece to go for that scrum in the middle of the field, about 10 meters out from the Waratahs try line. So that's the first time ever. The second first time ever is I have never ever seen a conversion being charged down before. I've seen conversions like being botched, like I've seen one where players kind of, we saw one like a couple weeks ago where the wind blew the ball over, sort of thing. I think it was last week, but I've never seen a actual charge down for a conversion. And the Fijian Drua kicker actually got charged down today by none other than Nwanga Nitawasi. I mean, I've never seen this. And even though he did got his hat on the ball, like the ball almost went through anyway, but still, it's still considered a charge down. Who was it that took the kick? But yeah, it was really something that I've never seen before. Actually, I've never seen that in rugby before. So let me know if you've seen anything like that. Because I've never seen that before. And in terms of the Drura's play, in terms of Drura's performance today, I thought there was a lot more structure in the game, but it kind of like slowed down the tempo a little bit for the Endurers. So the Endurers had overwhelming possession of the game, had a lot of attacks, opportunities to run at the Waratahs. They should, in theory, considering how many opportunities they've gotten, should probably walked away a bit more points. And I do feel like maybe the structure that's kind of like starting to build for the Endurers, they're losing a bit more of that wild side, that quick tab, that fast decision making, that unstructured style that they were so successful with in the past. So I do feel like that was the thing. So I actually checked the stats as well. The offload is kind of low for the number of runs that the Fijian Druas had. We'll have a look at the stats in a minute. But yeah, the Druas are almost used to be one of the teams that almost throws those offloads kind of recklessly. But nowadays, it seems that they're way too controlled a little bit, and those offloads are just not going off at all. And I do feel like if, the Endurers probably could have had a little bit more success if we were able to play the tempo a little bit faster. They actually played the tempo, I thought, really suited for the Waratahs, because the Waratahs has more methodical set-piece style of gameplay, whereas the Endurers liked a bit of a faster pace, faster tempo, and, without those offloads, without those, like, quick taps from the penalties, it really slowed down the tempo a bit, and I did feel like that played into the Waratahs' hand a little bit here for the Endurers. And also the kicking game for the Endurers, whilst it's really good to see the Endurers are improving on those kicking game. It was also, I think, one of the big issues that the Endurance are having is the lack of pressure from the kicking in and also the accuracy. Sometimes the kicks is just not pressured at all, and the accuracy it's just, yeah, it needs to be improved, polished up a little bit. The Waratahs, on the other hand, I thought was really, really good in their physicality, like tremendous amount of defense, huge amount of tackles have been made for the Waratahs this game, and really the tackle completion rate was quite high. Like I was very, happy to see that. That high tackle completion rate from any Australian team, because it's something that the Australian team has been struggling with in the past. So really good defense, the Waratahs. Good set piece as always, very good structure, and also when the Waratahs spread the ball out wide, Jorgensen has been an absolute weapon for the Waratahs. I was watching a lot of NRL pundits talking about, in terms of, the codes taking NRL players to play rugby union, and one of the players that unanimously that was agreed upon by the pundits in the rugby league world is Jorgensen is someone that slipped out of the rugby league's hand, went straight into union, and they felt like that was something that rugby league kind of like that was a mistake that rugby league made, not capturing the talent before he signed with Rugby Australia. So that was he actually showed today. He's still a teenager, and he was extremely good. Set up a number of tries. In fact, I don't want to say half, like a lot of the tries that happened today, Jorgensen was involved in setting it up with just passes, good hands, and being in the right position to support his teammates. So really, really well done for him in this game. And let's have a look at some of the match stats. Let's look at some of the issues that we kind of want to talk about. So 5 tries to 2 for the Waratahs. The Duras was hanging into the game all the way to about the last maybe 15 minutes before the Waratahs really pulled away at the end to kind of like secure the win. As you can see here, the run meters, the Endurance 20 run meters to the Waratahs 486. The Endurance had 185 carries. That's a lot of meters, a lot of opportunities belted into the Waratahs, and they were not able to walk away with the win. So when you almost doubling the run, what is it? Not doubling, like you're like 30. How much is that? I don't even know. Like you're doing like 70 extra carries, which means you have 70 extra opportunities to break the defensive line. And if you're not able to do so against the Waratahs, both says that Waratahs had a good defense, but also says that the Duras, just really not that lacked a little bit of efficiency. One of the things that I did notice is the offloads, right? Whilst Waratahs only had 100 carries, 10 they had only 9 offloads. The Duras had 185, 16 offloads. Something that I felt like probably could have been a bit higher if the Fijians play the way they used to, would have been a lot higher, especially if you had 185 carries to the game. Turnovers conceded, something that Endurance really struggled a little bit at the breakdowns. there was like a couple of, I thought, controversial breakdown calls, but overall, the breakdown was a bit of an issue for the Endurance. 18 turnovers conceded. Waratahs only conceded 10. This is something that I think the Waratahs will be very proud of. 257 tackles, 27 missed tackles. That is almost international level of defense. If you're an international team, you'll probably be less than 20 out of 257 tackles. But yeah, that is still incredibly good. Just a little bit over that 10% miss rate, which is always something that you want to look for, just around that 10%, under that 10% missed tackle rate. The Endurance pretty good themselves, 19 missed tackles out of 122. Kicks in play, 22 for the Waratahs, 15 for the Endurance. Whilst the Waratahs did have a better kicking game, I did feel like the Endurance, has a bit of work to go there in terms of the kicking. The lineouts, again, there was no line. I don't know if the lineouts loss stats is correct, but Endurance, going huge improvement once again in the set piece, going from missing out almost every one of their own lineouts because the throws are not straight and just silly errors like that to 100%. And in fact, there was one lineout that was spoiled, in fact, which did result to a Fijian try. But regardless, I'm pretty sure that would have considered a loss, even though he ended up Fijian recovering it after the Waratahs stealing the lineout. Jet Holloway stealing the lineout. Once again, the Endurance has really good discipline in this game. Only 8 penalties conceded. The Waratahs 12 penalties conceded. Probably want to get that down under the 10 mark for the final rounds. So let's have a look at some of the key moments of the game. from the very early game, the Honduras actually just straight up had that physical dominance over the Waratahs. Had a lot of territory inside the Waratahs half. 7 minutes into the game, the Honduras gets an opportunity to kick for 3 points, and they opted to do so. For me, I like to, typically for me, I feel like a team, if you had early dominance in this situation, getting an opportunity to kick for 3, typically I would say you will go for the try because you really wanted to build that momentum into 7 points. But Honduras take the 3 here. I am not too upset. I do feel like they considering the Waratahs are pretty good set piece defense, I can see why they're taking the 3 here. But normally I would like the team to go for the try in a situation like this early in the game. But anyway, Honduras gets the 3 points on the ball. A few minutes later, about 7 minutes later, the Honduras gets another penalty right in front of the goalpost again. Again, the Waratahs struggling a little bit of discipline early in the game, and then Honduras kicks for another 40 minutes into the game. Waratahs fights back about 10 minutes later. So there was a lot of back and forth between both teams. Honduras having more having that physicality with carrying the ball really strong. The Waratahs was able to eventually get inside the Honduras half, building some pressure, and the Waratahs was able to find themselves in a lot of nice depths. So they essentially, had a little loop ball behind to Jorgensen that was running a little line around running the kind of like decoy line behind one of the players. And then with the depths, one of the Fijian Drua players shot up a bit too early, ran out of the line, and then Jorgensen just threw a nice little over-the-top long pass to Nwangani Tawasi, and then suddenly there's a huge gap because one of the Drua players obviously shot up too early to try to shut down Jorgensen, and then Nwangani Tawasi went into the corner for the first try for the Waratahs. Waratahs gets himself back 5 points to 6, just 1 point behind. And then the game played on a little bit. Around 30-minute mark, Michael Hooper gets called by Ben O'Keefe because he was like in the ruck, disrupting the ruck. He got called by the Ben O'Keefe to not do that again. Like Ben O'Keefe issued an official warning to Michael Hooper saying that it's going to be a yellow card if he does that again. So yeah, I thought that was really early for Michael Hooper to get an official warning by Ben O'Keefe for sticking his hand in the ruck when he was not supposed to do so. There was a bit of a high tackle for Michael Hooper as well a bit later, but I was surprised that there was not a yellow card. I thought Ben O'Keefe did really well because a lot of referees would have given this a red. So Hooper, I think he passed the ball. Didn't even have the ball, and one of the Fijian Drua players just like grabs him by the collar, did a bit of a seatbelt tackle on him without the ball. I thought this could have been a yellow card in some situations, but Ben O'Keefe did really well to manage that. 31 minutes into the game, the Waratahs. 31 minutes into the game. This is where the Honduras gets a penalty for one of the Waratahs players entering the ruck from the side. This was right in front of the Waratahs try line, and this was, missing the field as well. And I thought for sure they were just going to take a quick tap, but no, the Honduras going for the scrum. They set up for a scrum whilst this was a big improvement. Like I said, they could have taken 3 points here, but they went for the scrum. I was surprised they didn't go for the line out or just take the quick tap, but yeah, scrum is. The Honduras went for the blind side. Waratahs did really well to shut this down. So yeah, Honduras was not able to convert this into a point, but despite making the smart decision to go for the scrum here. Just before halftime, this was a bit of a weird incident. I haven't seen this since Blurless Little Cup 2001, since like 20 something years ago, where the clock was red in the stadium and on your television screen, but the referee Ben O'Keefe says his watch still had a minute or so, 30 seconds or so left to play. So the Honduras was caught with a penalty at the breakdown. I thought this penalty was really harsh. Isaiah Presti was off his feet, but the referee says he was on the ball before he went off his feet. I thought that was a really tough call against Honduras. So Waratahs gets a penalty, and then that penalty builds into another penalty, which I think was another offside penalty. So then the Waratahs kicks the ball out into the corner, and then they go for the line out. The line out was stopped. The ball comes out, nice crash ball, and then they just spread the ball out wide. Jorgensen once again, such a great player. He gets the ball, draws the defender, still able to get one hand free to loop the ball over the top for his winger. This was Dylan Peach, goes into the corner just before halftime. And suddenly the scoreboard opens up for the Waratahs at 10 points to 6 going into half time. So second half starts. The both teams coming back for a little bit early in the game. No one was able to get any solid options into the tries. I do feel like the Enduras probably could have gone for probably played a little bit too conservatively in the second half, but it took them about 58 minutes to finally get themselves in a position inside the Waratahs half. Just a lot of pick and go physicality, finally pace them off. They've been doing this the whole game. Ikan Vere gets a nice little pick and go, good low body position, bumps himself over for the first try for the Enduras, and this come at 58 minutes into the second half. And then the game kind of went, again, really probably went a bit too conservatively for the Fijian Drua. And there was some really back and forth kicking, and one of the kicks from the Drua was really poor. It just went straight down the middle, landed pretty much exactly in the middle of the field on the 50-meter line. And Jorgensen gets the ball, just counter-attacks from where he had the ball. He passes the ball to Nwangani Tawase. Nwangani Tawase runs down the, kind of basically finds himself a break, runs down the field, links up with Walter, who's on the wing. Walter runs down the wing. He gets tackled as he's flying off the sideline, throws the ball in field. Somehow this ball landed straight into the breadbasket of Nwangani Tawase, who goes in for the third try for the Waratahs. Suddenly the scoreboard opens up again for the Waratahs, 20 points to 13 after, the Fijian Drua leveled up the score just a few minutes earlier. The Fijian, after this try was scored, gets another opportunity to attack for the Waratahs. They get a penalty. They kick the penalty for a line-out. The line-out actually gets stolen by Jet Halloway. The Jet pats the ball down towards the Waratahs side. But Tamani, quick reactions, runs up, picks up the ball before any Waratahs player could have recovered this ball. And then he was just free. He was already inside the Waratahs, behind the Waratahs defensive line, and just bolted down the field, trucked over a couple of defenders, and went in for the second try for the Enduras. And suddenly the scoreboard is looking like it's going to be leveled with the conversion to come. The Drua player gets his conversion charged down. Yeah, 20 points to 18. So that was a very crucial conversion because, if they get that, it would have been leveled at 20 points apiece. With about 10 minutes left, only 2 points in it, you figure that the game would just, the Enduras has a really good chance to win here. Right after this try was scored, the Waratahs gets himself into the Fijian half, start building some pressure. Again, that good structure is paying off for the Waratahs, just controlling the ball. And then Jorgensen once again did a nice little loop behind ball. He gets the ball, and then he runs into the defensive line, draws the defenders. And once again, just nice little pass over the top, a cardio pass over the top to Langi Gleeson. Langi Gleeson runs up. There was an Enduro player come up to tackle him. Gleeson just rammed him down, like literally mauled him down with the, set the Enduro player down on his bum. And then Gleeson rumbles over for the try. This was huge. I was so happy to see this massive hit. Just Gleeson just mauled him down. And then goes in for the try for the Waratahs. Suddenly the scoreboard is open up again, 25 points to 18. The conversion was not successful. So Enduro still have an opportunity, scored a converted try to level the score with about still 9 minutes left on the clock. But the game played on a little bit with about 3 minutes left before full time. The Waratahs inside center, okay, I gotta get his name, Joey Walton gets the ball inside his own 50, and nobody was expecting this. This was this was about 40 meters from his own try line, really far in from his own half. He just punted the ball down the field, like this nice little kick, like really like ping pong accurate kick down the field, and the ball just bounced and bounced and bounced. It hit the corner post just on the try line, right in the corner of the try line, and it went out. Not over the try line, but outside. Went out. So like it literally was like a perfect 50-22, like went as far as it can possibly go to get the 50-22. Obviously, the Waratahs gets the line out throw in 5 meters from the try line. And then, yeah, that structure that the Waratahs been working on the whole game, went for the line out, just, set it up for a maul. And then the Waratahs, via Nanu, goes in for the maul try for the Waratahs, 77 minutes in. Suddenly the scoreboards open up 32 points to 18, and the Fijian Drua was not able to recover that gap with the last 3 minutes or so. And that was the final score, 32 points to 18. Like I said, I did feel like the Honduras had a few opportunities. I feel like if they had just did that offload game a little bit more, like they've been so successful with, I feel like the Honduras probably could have had, the structured play. Yes, it's good, but the most success the Fijian Drua has, gotten is from the high tempo, quick tap style, that offloading style, and I just feel like it was lacking a little bit this game. Let me know your thoughts. Like and comment, subscribe. Really appreciate you watching this review, and I'll see you guys later for more rugby content. Thanks for watching. Cheers.